What if I told you that a melody played to calm a panic attack could stop an assassination? That's exactly what happened when Angela Harper, a shy girl earning minimum wage, cleaning a luxury hotel, sat down at a forbidden piano and played three notes that would expose a security flaw, save a CEO's life, and prove that sometimes the most broken people see danger that million-dollar technology misses. But here's what nobody knew: she was about to do it again. And this time she'd have to choose between staying invisible and risking everything. This is the inspirational, true pattern of how trauma became survival and survival became heroism. The Ridgeview Grand Hotel existed in two worlds: the gleaming marble lobby where wealthy guests sipped champagne and closed million-dollar deals, and the service corridors where people like Angela Harper, 24, exhausted, unnoticed, kept those worlds running. She'd been a maid here for 18 months. Before that, a failed music student. Before that, a daughter who watched her father die in a car accident and spent the next 8 years learning how to survive on minimum wage and shattered dreams. Above her, 30 floors up, Logan Whitmore built empires. CEO of Whitmore Innovations, security systems that protected governments and corporations. A man so guarded that even his own employees called him the Ice King. Two people, same building, about to collide. The crash came without warning, a serving tray shattering against marble somewhere behind the reception desk. To everyone else, it was noise. To Angela, it was a time machine. Suddenly, she was 16 again in the passenger seat, watching headlights spin as her father's car hydroplaned off a rain-slicked bridge. The sound of impact, the silence that followed. The moment her world broke into before and after. Her hands started trembling violently. Her breath caught that familiar panic clawing up from the locked place inside her chest, where she kept all the fear she couldn't afford to feel. She stumbled toward the walnut piano in the corner. Staff weren't supposed to touch it. It was for guests only. But Angela couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything except reach for the one thing that had kept her alive for 8 years. Her fingers found the keys almost on their own. 3 short notes, one long, one clipped. The pattern her father used to play during thunderstorms when she was small and the world felt too big. It wasn't beautiful music. It was a heartwarming lifeline. It was how she survived. Logan Whitmore froze mid-stride across the lobby like he'd been struck by lightning. His $3,000 briefcase slipped from his hand and hit the floor with a thud that echoed through the pristine space. The blood drained from his face. His breath caught. Every person in that lobby disappeared except for one, the shy girl at the piano playing a pattern that shouldn't exist. He stared at Angela's hands moving across the keys. That rhythm. 3 short, 1 long, 1 clipped. That's impossible, he whispered, his voice cracking. Angela's head snapped up, her shy demeanor flooding back with crushing force. I'm so sorry, sir. I know I shouldn't have. Where did you learn that pattern? Logan's voice shook with something between terror and wonder. My father taught me. It's just something I play when I heard that exact pattern 2 years ago. Logan took a step closer, his hands trembling now. It was the only warning I got before someone tried to kill me. It's the only reason I survived. The lobby went silent. Angela's hands hovered frozen over the keys. That pattern saved my life once, Logan said, his eyes locked on hers. And I think it's about to save me again. Somewhere in the building, a security system continued its countdown toward catastrophic failure, and the person who wanted Logan Whitmore dead was already inside. How could a shy girl's piano melody taught by her dead father be connected to a CEO's assassination attempt? And why was history about to repeat itself? Angela jerked away from the piano, smoothing her uniform with trembling hands. Please forgive me, Mr. Whitmore. It won't happen again. Logan stood frozen, staring at the piano like it held answers to 2 years of nightmares. When his eyes met hers, she felt exposed. Where did you learn that melody? My father, before he... She swallowed. It's just something I play to calm down. It means something to me. Logan's jaw tightened. Then he walked away, leaving his briefcase abandoned on the floor. From the mezzanine, Marcy Lane gripped the railing, knuckles white. Senior assistant to the CEO, she'd spent 3 years making herself indispensable to Logan Whitmore. She knew his schedule down to the minute. His preferred coffee, his mother's birthday. And now some maid was making him forget his briefcase. Marcy descended the stairs with calculated precision. Angela, correct, hotel instruments are for paying guests, not cleaning staff. Yes, ma'am, I apologize. See that it doesn't happen again. Standards exist for a reason. Her gaze flicked toward where Logan had disappeared, particularly around our most important guests. That evening, Logan reviewed diagnostics with his security team. Whitmore Innovations had installed new audio alert technology in 12 buildings. Final testing was scheduled for next week, a public demonstration for government contracts worth hundreds of millions. Run the diagnostic sequence again. The engineer complied. Irregular beeps filled the room, tones designed to detect system malfunctions. But Logan felt something wrong. The same cold dread from 2 years ago when a security system failed during a launch and someone exploited that 3-second gap to try killing him. He'd heard something that night. Not a proper alarm, something his body recognized as danger. Sir, is there a problem? Logan pressed his palms against the table. Keep monitoring. Hourly diagnostics until the demonstration. Leaving the meeting, he heard voices from the service area. Angela's soft voice. Did you hear about those threatening emails? Someone said a former employee's been spotted near the building. Another voice. Probably just rumors. This place fires people constantly. Logan's expression hardened. He'd increase overnight security, but his mind circled back to that piano pattern. 3 short, 1 long, 1 clipped, the rhythm haunting his nightmares since someone tried to kill him. The next afternoon, Angela found Logan standing beside the piano, waiting. You mentioned your father taught you. She nodded. This close, she saw the exhaustion in his eyes, the same weariness she saw in her mirror. What else did he teach you? That music brings you back to the present. That when fear takes over, you find your way back to yourself. She twisted her cleaning cloth. He died when I was 16. Car accident on a rainy night. I didn't touch a piano for 2 years. But you play now. I have to. When anxiety hits, music is the only thing that works. I can't afford to fall apart. I send money to my mother, still paying student loans for a degree I never finished. Logan studied her face. 2 years ago, I survived an assassination attempt. Our security system malfunctioned. 3 seconds of silence where an alarm should have sounded. But I heard something. Not a technical alert. Something my body recognized as warning. Their eyes met. Recognition passed between 2 people carrying invisible scars. When you played yesterday, Logan continued, voice rough, my entire system reacted like that night, like my body remembered danger. What did you want to be? Angela asked. Before you had to survive. The question caught him off guard. I wanted to build things that protected people. Instead, I built walls that protected myself. I wanted to study music therapy, help people heal through sound. But after Dad died, I had to drop out, get any job I could. She glanced at her cart. Dreams become expensive when you're just trying to survive. Logan's expression softened. Maybe they don't have to be. A silence settled between them two broken people, finding unexpected understanding. But someone was watching, and they were about to ensure this shy girl and her piano would never cross paths with Logan Whitmore again. Marcy Lane understood power. 3 years of careful positioning could unravel if the wrong person gained access to Logan Whitmore. And Angela Harper was absolutely the wrong person. The schedule system took 4 minutes to alter. Change Angela's assignment to floor 22, the restricted security testing area, where unauthorized personnel triggered immediate protocols. Marcy hit send at 11:47 p.m. By morning, that maid would be escorted out, and Logan would forget she existed. Angela stared at her tablet the next morning. Floor 22. She'd never been assigned there. That pre-panic warning crawled up her spine. But she couldn't question supervisors. Her mother's medical bills didn't pause for intuition. She took the service elevator up. No guest rooms, just server rooms and testing facilities. Everything felt wrong. She located the supply closet and pushed it open. The alarm shrieked. Red strobing lights. Angela stumbled backwards, supplies scattering. 3 security guards surrounded her within seconds. Identify yourself. What are you doing in a restricted area? I was assigned, I have it right here. This floor is classified. Who authorized your access? Angela fumbled for her tablet with trembling hands. But she could read it in their expressions. They didn't believe her. I swear I didn't know. You're suspended pending investigation. Surrender your badge immediately. Angela sat in her car, fighting to breathe. Suspended meant no paycheck. She couldn't send money to her mother. Couldn't make her loan payment. She pressed her palms against the steering wheel, trying to summon the piano melody. But the panic was too strong. A knock on her window. Gus Miller, 67, maintenance supervisor, worked here 40 years. Angela had once driven him to the pharmacy when he forgot his medication. She rolled down the window, tears streaming. I didn't do anything wrong, Gus. He handed her water and a handkerchief. I know you didn't, honey, but sometimes life sends you where you need to be, not where you're supposed to be. He smiled gently. Even if you can't see why yet. I'm going to lose everything. Maybe. Or maybe you just survived something bigger than you realize. He patted her door. Don't let fear write the ending, Angela. Logan reviewed system logs at midnight. The floor 22 alarm bothered him. He pulled up the assignment history, a schedule modification, submitted at 11:47 p.m. by Marcy Lane. Logan's blood went cold. Marcy didn't have clearance to assign anyone to floor 22. He called her at 3 a.m. Why did you reassign Angela Harper to a restricted floor? Silence. Then, I was protecting your image. She was getting too comfortable. People were talking. You don't get to destroy someone's livelihood because you're jealous. Logan's voice could freeze steel. You compromised security protocols. Floor 22 is running final diagnostics. One breach could trigger cascade failures in systems protecting thousands of lives. I didn't think. That's the problem. Security systems fail when people ignore protocols. That's how people die, Marcy. You're suspended. HR will contact you. He ended the call. But when Logan pulled the diagnostic reports, anger transformed into something colder. The alarm Angela triggered hadn't been functioning properly. A bug in the audio alert system had been silently disabling warnings for 72 hours. If it remained hidden until his public demonstration next week, he'd have walked onto that stage with zero protection. And the person sending death threats would have had a perfect opportunity. The bug was detected and flagged exactly 14 minutes after Angela's breach. Standard protocol required full diagnostics after any security incident. If Angela hadn't been sent to that floor, if she hadn't triggered that alarm, the flaw would have killed him. Logan leaned back, staring at the ceiling. 2 days ago, when Angela played that piano melody, he'd felt it, that visceral warning. He'd immediately ordered increased security reviews, changed his schedule, doubled diagnostic frequency. All because a shy girl played 3 short notes, one long one clipped. She sensed it. Logan whispered. She felt the danger before any system could detect it. Not through supernatural ability. Through the hypervigilance that kept her functioning after her father died. The pattern recognition that trauma carved into people who couldn't afford to miss warning signs. This overlooked young woman had saved his life without knowing it, simply by trying to survive her own panic attack. But the danger stalking Logan Whitmore wasn't finished, and next time Angela's piano melody would need to do more than calm her fears. The call came at dawn. Angela stared at her phone. Suspension lifted. Report immediately. HR office. No explanation, no apology, just a summons. Companies didn't reverse decisions this quickly, not for people like her, unless someone had fought for her. She thought about walking away, but Gus's words echoed, "Don't let fear write the ending." So she went. Security personnel stood throughout the lobby, more than usual, expressions alert. A manager approached immediately. "Mr. Whitmore wants to see you." Executive suite. Angela's stomach dropped. She rode the elevator up, trying to hum the melody silently. 3 short, 1 long, 1 clipped. Logan's office was all glass and steel. He stood facing the window. "Close the door, please." She did. "I owe you an apology, and an explanation, and probably a debt I can never repay." "Sir, I don't understand." He turned, eyes holding exhaustion and respect. "Marcy Lane altered your schedule without authorization, hoping you'd be terminated. She's been suspended pending criminal charges." Angela's breath caught. Why, jealousy, but her cruelty accidentally exposed a critical vulnerability. The alarm you triggered initiated diagnostics that discovered a bug in our audio alert system. A bug that would have left me unprotected during next week's demonstration. "I still don't understand." Logan moved closer. 2 days ago, when you played that piano melody, something shifted. I felt that same warning from when someone tried to kill me. I couldn't explain it logically, but I trusted it. His voice dropped. I ordered immediate security reviews, changed my schedule, increased diagnostics, all because of a feeling. But it was just a song. It was survival instinct. Logan's hands shook slightly. I've spent 2 years trying to program intuition into technology, but you can't code the way a body learns to recognize danger before the mind processes it. I'm just a shy girl who plays piano when she's scared. No. You're someone who survived tragedy and learned to listen differently. You notice patterns others miss because loss taught you to pay attention. He pulled up security footage. Yesterday morning, 30 minutes before your shift. The video showed a service entrance, a figure in maintenance coveralls, face obscured. Derek Morrison, former employee. Terminated 6 months ago. He's been sending threats. Yesterday, he disabled cameras on 3 floors. We only caught it because your alarm triggered a comprehensive audit that exposed his breach. Security apprehended him before he could reach the demonstration stage. Angela sank into a chair. I triggered it by accident. You triggered it because Marcy sent you there. But the timing... Logan knelt, meeting her eyes. The moment you played that melody, I sensed danger and ordered increased diagnostics. That led us to discover the audio bug early. That made us vigilant enough to catch Morrison immediately. You're saying I saved your life? You sensed danger before our million-dollar systems did. Through pattern recognition carved into you by trauma. Through the sensitivity that helps you survive every day. His voice cracked. You saved me by being exactly who you are. Angela's hands covered her face. I thought being broken made me weak. After Dad died, I couldn't stop shaking. Couldn't stop being afraid. It made you aware. Wounds create fear, yes, but they also create the ability to see what others can't. Logan stood. That's not weakness. That's a different kind of strength. Whispered rumors filled the hotel all afternoon. Marcy Lane suspended. A security threat neutralized. And Angela Harper, invisible Angela, called to the CEO's office and emerging with something new in her expression. Hope. Gus found her during lunch, sitting near the lobby piano. You okay, honey? Angela nodded slowly. When you said life sends us where we need to be. Did you know about the security flaw? I knew something was off. 40 years in a building, you learn to feel when things aren't right. Small sounds that don't belong. He smiled. But I'm just an old maintenance man. Nobody listens to people like me. Until someone finally did. Mr. Whitmore said I saved his life. You did more than that. You reminded him that security isn't just technology. It's about paying attention to the ones everyone overlooks. Gus's expression turned serious. He offered you something, didn't he? A position in a new program. Music and trauma recovery research. Therapeutic applications for people with PTSD. Her voice shook. It's everything I wanted to study. Everything I thought I'd lost. Then don't let fear talk you out of it. Angela looked at the piano. Thought about her father teaching her that melody during thunderstorms. About how grief carved sensitivity into her bones. About how that awareness had just saved a man's life. I won't, she whispered. And for the first time in 8 years, she believed it. But there was one more person who needed to learn what happens when you underestimate the invisible, and this lesson would change everything. Marcy Lane sat in the HR conference room with her attorney, maintaining the professional composure she'd perfected over 3 years. Hands folded, expression neutral, the armor she'd worn to climb her way up. Across the table sat Logan Whitmore, the head of security, and the HR director. No armor, just truth. You altered employee schedules without proper authorization. The HR director began reading from a formal document. You deliberately assigned a staff member to a classified area knowing it would trigger security protocols and likely result in termination. I made an error in judgment, Marcy said carefully. I believed I was protecting Mr. Whitmore's professional reputation from inappropriate attention. No. Logan's voice cut through the corporate language. You were protecting your territory, your perceived ownership of access to me. There's a significant difference. Marcy's mask cracked. I've dedicated 3 years to this company. I know your preferences, your schedule, every detail of my coffee order, my preferred dry cleaner, my meeting patterns. Logan leaned forward. You know logistics, Marcy, but you never understood what actually matters. Angela Harper spent one conversation with me and recognized something you missed in 3 years, that I'm a person who survived trauma and never learned to trust my own instincts again. She saw past the position to the human being. She's just a cleaning. She's a human being who deserves dignity and safety at work. Something you actively tried to destroy. Logan's calm was more frightening than anger. But you didn't just hurt Angela. You compromised critical security infrastructure. Your unauthorized action triggered a cascade that exposed a major system vulnerability. If that bug had remained hidden, I would have been exposed during a public demonstration. The individual who's been threatening my life would have had an unobstructed opportunity. Marcy went pale. I had no idea. That's the entire problem. You acted without considering consequences. In a security company that's not merely unethical, it's dangerous. The HR director slid termination papers across the table. You're dismissed effective immediately. Given the severity of this misconduct, unauthorized access to security systems, we're referring this matter to law enforcement for review. Marcy's hands trembled. You're destroying my career over a scheduling mistake. You destroyed your own career, Logan said quietly, by treating people as disposable, by believing your jealousy justified harming someone's livelihood, by forgetting that every person in this building, from the CEO to the woman cleaning the piano, deserves basic human respect and dignity. 1 week later, Angela stood in Logan's office again, but this time she wasn't afraid. The program launches next month, Logan said, sliding a folder across his desk. Music and Trauma Recovery Initiative. You'll collaborate with therapists, neuroscientists, and patients managing PTSD. Help us understand how sound patterns affect emotional regulation and threat detection. Build therapeutic protocols. And if you choose, complete your degree. Full tuition coverage. Angela opened the folder with shaking hands. Her name printed on official letterhead. Position Research Associate. A salary that would change not just her life, but her mother's. I thought survival meant doing it alone, Logan continued. Thought strength required walls, but you showed me something different. You demonstrated that survival isn't about isolation, it's about awareness, about trusting the patterns trauma carved into us, about letting our broken parts become our most sensitive parts, the parts that save lives. I just played a melody my father taught me. You played the right melody at the right moment. You listened when your body signaled danger. You acted when everyone else told you to stay invisible. Logan's expression softened into that genuine smile she'd taught him. That's not just survival, Angela. That's courage. She studied the job description, the benefits that would let her send money home, pay off crushing debt, build something new from the rubble of abandoned dreams. Why me? The question came out barely above a whisper. Because you perceive what others miss. Because you understand that sensitivity isn't weakness, it's a different form of strength. Because when I heard you play that piano melody, I remembered that security systems aren't just about technology and protocols. They're about people, about listening to the quiet voices we've been conditioned to ignore. Angela closed the folder, met his eyes. Two people who'd survived different tragedies and found each other in the space where trauma meets healing. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for saving me. Outside the office, Gus Miller leaned against the wall, waiting. When Angela emerged, he could read it on her face, that light that comes when someone finally receives the opportunity they always deserved. You accepted. I accepted. Gus grinned wide. Good. Because this old maintenance man has waited 40 years to watch someone like you get recognized for what you actually are. What's that? Essential. He squeezed her shoulder gently. Security systems are like people, honey. One tiny ignored flaw can cost everything, but one person paying real attention, truly paying attention, can save the whole building. That's inspirational, that is. Angela laughed through tears. Gus, you're going to make me cry right here in the hallway. Then go play that piano of yours. Play something happy. This place could use it. And 1 month later, The piano melody that once helped a shy girl survive would finally get the chance to help others heal. The small concert hall at Whitmore Innovations held 50 seats, patients, therapists, neuroscientists, and carefully selected guests. Angela stood backstage in a simple blue dress, hair down, hands trembling with anticipation rather than fear. For the first time in years, she looked like herself. "Ready?" Logan appeared beside her, his voice gentle in the way she'd taught him. "I keep thinking about Dad. How he used to say music brings you back to the present moment." Angela smiled through gathering tears. "I wish he could see this. See what his melody became." Logan handed her a folded letter. "This arrived this morning. From your mother." Angela opened it with unsteady hands. "My daughter spent 8 years believing her brokenness made her worthless. Thank you for showing her that cracks are where light enters. Her father would be so proud. I know I am. This is the most inspirational thing I've ever witnessed." Angela pressed the letter to her chest, overcome. "You gave me a gift," Logan said quietly. "The reminder that trauma doesn't just break people. It teaches us, makes us sensitive to patterns others can't perceive. That's not weakness, Angela. That's wisdom purchased with pain. You gave me something too. The chance to be seen." The stage manager signaled. 30 seconds. Angela walked onto the small stage. 50 faces looked back, people carrying their own scars, their own broken melodies seeking resolution. She sat at the piano, took a breath, and began to play. Not the old melody. Not the 3 short notes, one long one clipped that had saved a life. Something new. Something that started with fear and traveled toward hope. Notes that stumbled and soared, broke and rebuilt, telling the truth about survival. It's messy and beautiful and never what you expect. In the front row, Logan leaned back, eyes closed, listening with the attention she'd taught him to give. Really listening. The way you listen when you understand that sound carries meaning beyond words. Beside him, Gus wiped his eyes with a worn handkerchief. "That shy girl," he whispered. "Told you she was something special." "You told me the wrong floor sometimes leads to the right people," Logan murmured. "You were right. Always am. Comes with being old and invisible." Gus smiled through tears. "People like us, we notice things. We pay attention. We remember that buildings don't stand because of blueprints. They stand because of people who notice when something's loose, when something's wrong, when someone needs help." In the back row, Marcy Lane sat alone. She'd been permitted to attend as part of her rehabilitation review, stripped of title, stripped of authority, stripped of the armor that had defined her. Just another person learning what happens when cruelty masquerades as ambition. She watched Angela play. Watched the audience lean forward, captivated. Watched Logan Whitmore. The man she'd spent 3 years trying to impress, finally look at peace. And for the first time, Marcy understood she'd been playing the wrong song all along. When the final notes faded, silence held the room for one heartbeat. Then applause. Warm and genuine. Angela stood, bowed, and saw her mother in the 3rd row flown in as a surprise. Crying openly, proudly. After the concert, people gathered. Patients thanked Angela. Therapists asked questions. Researchers requested follow-up sessions. Logan found her by the piano, fingers tracing the keys one final time. "A month ago, you were cleaning hotels and hiding from your own gifts," he said. "Now you're teaching people how to heal. That's the definition of inspirational." "A month ago, you thought security meant systems and technology," Angela countered. "Now you're running a trauma recovery program. We both changed." They laughed the heartwarming sound of two people who'd been broken and discovered that brokenness wasn't the end, just the beginning of becoming something wiser, something kinder, something real. "Thank you for letting me play the melody Dad taught me," Angela said, "for trusting that invisible people might perceive things you can't. Thank you for reminding me that the best security system is awareness, attention to patterns, attention to people, attention to the quiet voices that save lives when nobody's watching." They stood together, two survivors who'd found each other in the space between trauma and healing. And in that space, they'd built something beautiful.